If you cringe at yourself, that's a good thing. Because now you know that you're changing from your younger self. That you want to change from your younger self. That you unconsciously have the desire to be different from your younger self. The thing is with being like young is that you're learning. You're just learning. You learn because you are just experiencing life. You have not experienced life as a 50-year-old if you're probably watching this video. And if you are, oh, god damn, bro. The main objective of young people is to learn. Now, any sort of negative emotions that are like dealt towards any sort of learning experience, whether it be like getting beat via punishment or as simple as just cringing at your past self, it affects you because it's a negative emotions. These are negative emotions, and they stick harder than like positive emotions. I mean, there's a reason why PTSD cases are higher than like euphoria cases or whatever it's called, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Like people have to live through that. They strong emotions through any sort of negativity cause you to remember it, especially if you have PTSD. Now, if you have more minor emotions towards whatever like you think is bad, then it makes you think more about it. It's more in your mind than if it's a positive and a little bit more stronger positive emotion associated with that memory. Because a lot of negative emotions just stick around. There's a reason why traumatized men are able to just flourish. But there's also the caveat that traumatized men are also traumatized and they like don't do anything about it, and they feel like trapped. They feel disempowered because their freedom has been taken away, because a form of punishment is just not being free. It's hard to recover from those sorts of things, because if you are just stuck inside a house and you have like overprotective parents, so you can't really like get out of the house without getting like overly yelled at and like beat, then it's kind of hard for you. If you have overprotective parents, they want you to do whatever they say. They want you to freeze. There's 3 responses to certain like flight or fight scenarios. There's number 1, fight. There's number 2, flight. And then there's another one, freeze. I don't know which person coined freeze in that, but I remember hearing Hamza talk about it. And the way he describes it closely mimics what I've experienced, because I'm a freezer. And it's hard. It's hard to like do something in the moment because you're just frozen. You just don't know what to do in that situation except just accept your fate. If you ever gotten like beaten, if you got like overprotective parents that want you to be that want you to stay in the house, then it's hard for you to cope with like reality, because overprotective parents protect you from reality itself. Overprotective parents protect you from the outside world where you actually gain experience and actually become a fully fleshed man. Bro, people with overprotective parents, it's hard for them to be like men because of how they grow up without these sorts of freedoms that they experience as a kid. So they get like desensitized to the freedoms. But overprotective parents overly sensitize their kids in a way that even the realities of the world are overbearing. Like actually seeing the realities, like seeing somebody get beat up, you know? Like they might think it's normal because they might have like experienced it, but getting beat up like in like a fist fight, not like with a bell or like a stick, but like an actual fist fight where you're just like it's different. It hits different. Because you see, these two people are fighting, but the overprotected child, they don't experience it. They don't experience these sorts of freedoms to express how to just flourish, how to just fight when they have to, and fight even when they want to. They don't know how to fight because overly protective parents are a shield against all reality. They basically even defy reality until like the kid like gets a job, and then they realize, oh shit, taxes. And then they start having a rough time, like going through life. I know for my brothers, it was like they're struggling to get a job. I know like this one brother that just didn't get a job. I know another brother that like gets just like does McDonald's. I know a brother that's currently in university, and then the brother without a job comes in and is like, what are you gonna do with that like art degree? Like that's it looks pretty useless, I'm not gonna lie. Like, no, my god, bro. I'm not one to criticize my brothers, but I believe that they are all like misled because of how my parents have made them grow up in a way in which they have like suffered. They suffered not because of too much trauma, but because of overprotectiveness of reality. If they see another person doing whatever the parent is, then they classify that as normal. But if they don't, well, the kid starts questioning. If you were to go back like to Vietnam, bro, and every like Asian like household there, just they they beat their kids as normal. But as soon as you come to the West, it becomes a thing of, oh, it's abuse. Now, I think my parents did the wrong thing in making my brothers go become like overly safe and overly comfortable, which makes them overly complacent. And it's like a hard reality, like, to realize this, because you know that all of your brothers have grown up with you. I'm the youngest of like all my brothers, and I just see them like not really doing much. They've been institutionalized by the school system, in which they have to be a good boy. They gotta like do whatever the boss says, you know? And the boss will change in different environments, just like school. Like at home, it would be, the boss would be like the parents. At work, it would be, of course, the boss. And yeah, it's just, it's hard. That's why I am grateful that I cringe at my past. Not only is it a learning lesson for me, but I'm now, because of like Hamza and just self-improvement in general, I'm able to just look at my childhood in a different view. Trauma makes men, but you have to like consider what that trauma is, because Andrew Tate had like a brilliant father. Like even though he beat him, the beatings were necessary. And you see, he's successful now. He's not complacent. Bro, I remember an Andrew Tate story about how he was working for his uncle at like a fishing yard, and then he was like doing all this like storage stuff. And Andrew Tate and his uncle were, Andrew Tate was helping out his uncle doing moving boxes. And so what his uncle would do is, instead of doing it at the time of the shift, which was 6 hours, he instructed Andrew to just run for the shift, to transport and move all the boxes. And what he would have is that he would, instead of working 6 hours, he would work only 4 hours. And then Andrew Tate, he was like, work's all done. I don't have much work anymore. And then the uncle was like, oh no, you still have stuff to do. And Andrew Tate was like, what do you mean? And he's like, you gotta like clean, you gotta sweep the floor, do all this and that. Always do something. I like to cringe at my past because sometimes I was a dumbass. So sometimes, yes, I own up to being a dumbass as a child. The amount of times, the amount of mistakes I've made as a child, like even though they are like bad, I'm grateful that I like went through them. And yeah, I love my current self now. However, I strive to be better. I love myself. Click this video to do the funny. Yes, sir.